It is the Mike and Molson Too Good for Radio podcast. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
For once again tuning in. And the cat's out of the bag a little bit as it pertains to my day-to-day routine, as I will be moving away from the particular area of Springfield down to the Orlando area. I'm a big Disney fan, so the wife and I, she got a job down there. I'll be moving down there. So I had been looking to try to find future employ in that particular area.
And you're going to be the understudy for Pluto.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's going to be hard work, a lot of leg lifting to make sure, but not too much because you don't want to be too graphic with the kids. So, so through that process, radio is such a different business. That's why we're too good for it. That it's hard, I think, for individuals to look at a radio resume and then deduce what skills you actually have in a real work setting. So one in particular avenue was marketing. I thought, okay, I saw this post on LinkedIn for this marketing firm, and I was like, all right, let me shoot out. And they preface it by saying sports-minded individual.
Sure.
So I thought,
that got your attention.
I was like, hell yeah, man, I'll help market whatever Orlando team, the Magic, whatever, man. This sounds great. Come to find out, it was more working with like nonprofits and stuff. But I get an interview, like I get an email saying, you've made it through the initial process. Come and interview with us. And I was like, all right, cool. They're like, here you go. Sign up for a time. And so I understood that it's not face-to-face anymore. I understood it probably would be via Zoom or something along those lines. What I was not expecting was when I clicked on that link to get ready for the interview, that 7 other people would also be on that call that weren't individuals asking me the question. They were other candidates for that same job.
So they were all being interviewed. You were all being interviewed at the same time.
Correct. So the woman,
like a game show.
Yes.
You had to buzz in.
Correct. Mike, over here. So the lady's like, oh, this is how we do it nowadays. And, to streamline the process. And I'm thinking, is it really how we do it nowadays? But I will say the one nice part of it was you could see in real time who you were competing against, at least in that round of interviews, and go, oh, I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I'm better than that. Because
was anybody trash talking each other?
Not really.
Well, unlike Judy, I am the kind of person who wakes up first thing in the morning.
Well, it was interesting to see, too, the differences of skill sets when it came to Zooms and what people were on. So I was actually down in Florida looking for homes at another friend's house I was staying at on a cell phone for this interview. So I didn't even have my computer with me. I knew at least, though, to keep it steady, look professional, had a polo on, had my hair done. There was one individual I think was laying on the floor playing with their child and they're moving the phone around. There was one person that had a background of a conference table on their green screen for their Zoom as if they were actually in the office setting for folks. And then there was Don Johnson out in Vegas. This young man with a pink polo and a pop collar.
No kidding.
In Vegas, sitting in front of like this giant window. And I was like,
oh, he probably should have gotten the job.
Well, no.
I hope he did.
Because so they asked the first question of, full-time, part-time, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And then they start talking about what are you looking for in a work environment and why does this appeal to you? And it was a lot of younger individuals. And it was all very much like reading off the same flashcard of like, I want a teamwork environment where I can blossom and grow and blah, 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 blah. Well, then we got
I want to synergize with all of my teammates.
Well, then we got to one girl, and she went for it, man. She goes, yeah, I want fully remote and paid weekly.
Good.
And they go, well,
put your foot down.
Well, then they go, well, we don't really do the remote thing. Like you may have to, we're more in office. Well, where are you located? Well, we're here. Okay, I think I can make that work. And I was like, hey, shooting your shot, kid. Yeah. Do your thing.
Why not?
So they go through all that. They get to me, and everyone else has been like just vanilla, just rhetoric of synergizing with, let's put a bow in it and wrap around, put
What
a
would
pin
you
here.
say is your biggest weakness?
Yeah, right.
I care too much.
Yes.
That's my problem.
Well-
I'm perfect.
Well, it gets to me, and I'm like,
Sometimes that gets in the way.
and it gets to me, and I'm like, well, you're working with nonprofits. I'm like, so a lot of times nowadays, we're just about black and white. We do the job to get money. There's something to be said about have a fulfilling career and something that actually means something, and that's what drew me to you, and blah blah blah. And I just see the lady running it kind of melt, right? And I'm like, all right, well, okay, I'm doing all right with that answer. Next question, and this is where Don Johnson comes back in. So next question is, if I were to call your best friend right now, what's the one thing they would say about you? And so the first girl comes up, well, I'm caring and I'm funny, and they're like, what? Bip, bip. One thing, just one thing. So one gets another girl. She goes, well, I actually happen to be living with my best friend, and they say I'm altruistic in nature. I was like, oh, very good answer. I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to try to top that somehow. Then they get to Don Johnson. Mm-hmm. And Don Johnson's like, well, it all depends on what friend you call. And he's like, but if you call one friend, I'm sure they would say, if I were to call him at 3 a.m., he would just simply respond, where do I bring the shovel? What? And I'm like, bro.
Where do I bring the shovel?
You could have said loyal.
Right.
Instead of like, I'm willing to bury dead bodies.
Right,
I don't know if that's the first great impression you make at an initial job interview of, I say, hey, where to bring the shovel?
Yeah.
You killed somebody? I'm there to help, bro.
You could have said, I know he'd be there, no questions asked.
Correct.
He would just get in the car and do whatever it has to do to take, because that's the kind of friend he is. But where do I bring the shovel?
I'm like,
I've already got the lie.
yeah, right.
I just need the shovel.
And so I'm just like, okay, that guy's out. So it came to me, and I'm just like, I keep it light, like, make sure everybody's, feeling good and kind of moving the conversation along, that kind of thing.
He tells the best poop jokes ever.
Yeah, exactly. He can make anything into an innuendo. He'll be no problem with your HR department at all, period. So then we get done. It wraps everything up. And like I said, there's like one lady who has been rolling on the floor the whole time and whatnot. And they're like, if you get a call in the next half hour, you move on to the next phase. And I walked out of that room like I was going to I'm like, I smoked those folks. I didn't get called back because they wanted someone to start right away. The more I delved into it too,
you didn't want the call back there. There was nothing.
No. It was very much was very much a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Because there was another opening that popped up like a month later that was strikingly similar to the one I put in for, but just under a different name. And instead of 8 people interviewing all at once, there was 4, including a guy who was probably in his mid to late 50s, who had terrible internet connection and had the camera up his nose.
Ew.
And one of his answers was, I am what you would call a blank slate when it comes to this type of career. So at least he was honest, but by the end of the meeting, he was dropped out of connection. Yeah. So
I think I got scammed by that once, where it said marketing, but it really was a multi-level marketing thing, which isn't marketing at all. It's can you round up your family and convince them to buy things from you?
Yes.
Maybe convince one of them to be at the bottom of the pyramid, so you move up the pyramid. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, because they never actually said, they said we work with nonprofits, but never said an exact nonprofit they actually had worked with. So I'm not quite sure exactly what they had been doing or not doing. But yeah, I was just kind of taken aback, and especially by Don Johnson's answer of, where do you bring the shovel?
Man, the job market is interesting, and I've never heard of a conference call Zoom with all the candidates all at once. But I know one thing that you never do when you are on the job is you don't send suggestive emails to coworkers. I think in 2024, that one's pretty clear to everybody. It should be.
It should be, yes.
But even if you are smart enough to apparently have, passed law school, we've got a guy who was fired. He's 56 years old.
Oh, he should know better.
And he sent an email reply to San Francisco's district attorney.
No, good Lord.
Yeah. Saying, what color panties you have on?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
That was the email? Was he a former host on the airwaves of the station I used to work on a daily basis?
So, yeah, this email goes out. He replies to the email and says, what color panties you got on?
That seems like a non sequitur.
Jovan Thomas, 56, fired shortly after sending that email, which was then circulated on social media because that's what happens when you do that.
When you send the "What color are your panties" email, you're going to go viral.
Thomas making the inappropriate inquiry in an office-wide email reply to a message from San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins. So she sends an email to the entire staff.
And he hits reply all.
He hits reply all.
What color panties?
Panties you got on.
By the way, stop it with the reply all.
Yeah.
I hate the reply all.
Man, yeah.
You get stuck in a vortex of just, I don't need to know.
And the accidental reply all, again, it's 2024.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. So what's his alibi for this?
Jovan Thomas says, hey, I did not mean to send that to my boss. I'm sorry, but things have been going on in my life. What I meant to do was to send that message to a fraternity friend who was distraught and grieving the death of his father. So he says, what color panties you got on? You know, you do when a buddy is grieving.
I can't remember. You know, I now that he says that, I remember that the last time that I went through at a funeral, at a wake,
when your dad died, that was the first thing I said to you.
Yeah, what color?
You know, and you lit up.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm glad to have you as a friend.
I remember going through the line the last wake I was at, and everyone says condolences, and I got to the family and I said, what color panties you got on?
Sorry
and they're
for your
like,
loss. Anything I can do for you? I'm sorry for your loss. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you.
Thoughts and
sorry for
prayers.
your loss. Anything I can do for you.
What
color panties you got on? Oh, come here,
you. You know exactly what to say.
He said he intended to text his friend a jokey question of the sort that the plaintiff had sent to his friend on occasion in the past in order to cheer him up. In the context of their longtime friendship, the plaintiff's flip question had no sexual, off-color, obscene, or misogynistic, sexist meaning to it. It was just guys talking to guys.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I can't remember the last time I didn't send that to a friend. Mm-hmm. By the way, what are you doing? A text is vastly different than an email.
What he's doing is lying.
Yes.
Just before he planned to send the text message, he received a calendar invite from Jenkins. Instead of sending the message to his friend, he hit reply all because they're right next to each other and sent the message not just to Jenkins, but to the entire staff at the district attorney's office.
Did you
Everybody.
Do you see what Jovan?
Would have been great if you would have got like 14 replies.
Blue.
White.
Purple.
Orange.
Yeah. That would have been even better.
Okay. Check. He claims the message could not have been interpreted by the staff any other way than a mistake. Obviously. I would never.
Did anyone reach out to the guy that he was going to try to console with what color are your panties?
That's a great question.
To see if he actually did just suffer the death of a father?
He does need to bring that guy in for an alibi.
Yes, he really does.
And it goes on, and it seems like he's got a history of doing this, but he's
staying
doubling
true.
down and saying, you know what, I don't think anybody could have literally thought that that's what I meant to send. I'm just not that kind of guy. I was just trying to cheer up my buddy. We've got this panty joke thing we do back and forth.
What's even the joke of that? I don't even know what the context is.
You know, years ago when we were in a fraternity, we promised each other, hey, if anything bad ever happens, I'll be the guy who asks you what color your panties are.
If for some reason you die in a fiery wreck or a beer bong accident gone awry, I will make sure to text your family in their time of need, what color are your panties? Yikes. Moving on, we always ask the question here on this program, why in the hell do we continue to go up mountains?
What's up there?
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to an 18-year-old German man who was one of a group of 3 young men who took the mountain railway up the Zugspitze late Sunday afternoon and then continued to the summit, which is a climb of about 80 meters, 260 feet from a terrace used by many visitors. They were up there at Germany's highest peak, the Zugspitze. It's at 9,718 feet above the sea level, is located in the Alps on Germany's border with Austria. Several parts of Germany were hit by storms on Sunday. And what happened was the man in question was struck by lightning.
Oh, no kidding.
Lightning struck repeatedly as the men descended from the summit, and the 18-year-old suffered a fatal electric shock.
Yeah. Get off the mountain.
Yes.
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
You freaking Germans, get off of it.
Wow.
In Dellenhurst, in the north of the country, a family of 8 had taken shelter under a tree in the park when the lightning struck. All 8 were hurt, and a 5-year-old boy and 14-year-old girl were taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. But this 18-year-old man, he got too close to God, and he struck him down with the lightning. Don't go up there.
Yeah.
Don't go up there.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, I mean, it's going to hit the highest peak, and you're just about 6 feet higher than the highest peak. That's
Right.
it. You're it.
Yes.
You're the lightning rod.
That's right. Tag, you're it. Sorry about your damn luck.
Oh man.
But yeah, out of all the things you can think could happen, a rock slide,
Right.
avalanche,
Freeze to death.
whatever, you don't expect to get struck by lightning, but yet here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
Man.
Here we are.
That's what you get. There, another interesting story about a family of adventurers who went on a worldwide boat trip. The
Swiss Family Robinson type thing?
interesting. Their name is Robertson.
Oh, okay. Don't do that if you have a R and a son at the end.
They were traveling the world, and when suddenly their boat was attacked by whales.
Whales?
Whales.
Okay.
Because you're in the ocean where
Well-
they live.
Yeah, well, we've seen that more and more, right? That the killer whales or whatever, the shamus are attacking off the coast, like yachts
Yeah,
and stuff. They're just
they
like,
can't be
get the hell
bothered.
out.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. This is our thing.
So their boat gets attacked by whales. They find themselves adrift for weeks on a tiny raft,
Oh.
forced to drink turtle blood, kill sharks, and use enemas to stay hydrated
Oh!
while fighting for their lives.
Wait, to stay hydrated?
I don't know.
Doesn't that dehydrate you?
An enema?
Yeah.
Well-
Doesn't that clear everything out?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can if you hold it in.
It's bad for you? But
No,
guess-
I don't know.
I don't know either. I
don't
don't
know
know that a sea anemone. I don't know if that's helpful.
Do-do-do-do-do. Enema. Do-do-do-do.
Anemone. But that's
I don't
besides the
know.
point. I'm
I
not
don't
quite
know.
sure, but they stay hydrated via enema.
I'll continue telling the story. People listening, please search "Do enemas keep you hydrated?"
Okay, I'll do that as
and
I'll do
send
that.
us into the yeah.
Yeah.
So they're on this 45-day journey when they were hit by whales, and their boat was sinking fast, and so all they had was their dinghy and a raft to keep them
And their turtle blood.
afloat, and so. They're telling their whole story, and he said, "Yeah, I mean, we thought we were going to die." He said, "I got my legs, I hadn't been eaten." They're praying, they're doing everything. Soon they realized how hopeless the situation was. They were hundreds of miles from land with a raft and a flooded dinghy. We had 10 days supply.
I hate having a flooded dinghy.
We had 10 days supply of water and 10 days supply of food, and that was all they had. So while they are assessing the situation, they say, "You know what? I can probably row about 25 miles a day, and maybe we'll get
Somewhere.
someplace." But we have to agree. So the whole family huddles together
Yes.
as they're reassessing the situation. Quote, "We made pledges to each other. One pledge was, we will not eat each other. We would die quietly if that's what it came to, and we would look for a rescue ship. But absolutely, the last straw is we will
Not eat each other.
eat each other."
We're
what if you're
family.
the last one, though, and there's nobody around to check you?
Then you can probably do that. By the way, quickly before we
Sure,
continue
yeah,
on about
please.
the human cannibalism, enemas can potentially prevent dehydration, but using too many or not following instruction can cause dehydration. Enemas work by introducing fluid into the large intestine to soften stool and help it pass. However, using too many enemas can disrupt the balance of gut bacteria and chemicals, causing the body to lose too much water. This can lead to severe dehydration, which can be fatal. So you got to do it just right.
Is that a survival technique, though? I mean, is that because it seems like they knew that going in.
Yeah. They said to help keep hydrated, if you lose extra fluid when using an enema, you can drink 1 to 2 glasses of water before administrating it. You should also follow the instructions on the kit from your healthcare provider.
I mean, they don't say. I've been on like ferries to islands and things.
I don't
and they
think
say
an enema is on there.
The life rafts are over here. The life jackets. Here's how you put them on and tie the rope. And by the way, the enemas.
Or underneath your seat,
and-
where they should be stored.
And in front of your family.
Yeah, I think I would. But you know what? That would lead to pledging not to eat each other.
That's true.
Because you know what just transpired. And you're like, I've seen too much to want to eat any part of you. I know what's going on.
And it does beg an interesting question because we've heard those legends of a plane crash and some, things happen and you gotta live. So you eat the dead people.
Yeah.
And you go, man.
Wasn't there a movie Alive or something, or K2
so,
or whatever? I can't remember.
But then you go, man, if it was your family, and even if someone in your family said, listen, you need to stay alive. If I go, eat me. Could you do it?
No. I think I would rather starve than eat like a toe or anything off of them.
I mean, maybe a stranger in desperation I might barbecue.
The problem with it is if you make it back to civilization, the fear is I now have a taste for it, and I have to satiate those needs.
And they know. They know how many people were on that plane.
Right. They have a manifest.
And now there's like two fewer.
Right, exactly. And they go immediately.
We never did find these other two guys. I don't know. They must have jumped out before we crashed. I don't know.
Burp up a fingernail. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
so anyway, look, they made it back. They're safe. They've got actual food.
Thank God.
They don't need enemas or anything like that. They're doing okay. But it's interesting that it came to a point of desperation where they had to look each other in the eyes and say, "We're not going to eat each other, right?
Right, Steve." Making sure, Steve.
Well, I don't know. Come on!
You got to promise us.
It's either all of us promise or none of us promise.
And it'll be all. Survival of the fittest.
That's right.
Well, Lord of the Flies this stuff if we need to.
Swear to God, if you so much as fall asleep, I will eat you.
You know they're going to be fun at parties, too, because they'll be like, oh, yeah, I got a glass of water. You know what we did? Enemas. Keeps you really hydrated.
Yeah. So did that question come up before or after the enema, I guess, would be the other. I got a lot of questions for you.
I do.
We can interview them.
They're poor kids are playing a sport and everyone else is drinking Gatorade. They run to the bathroom during halftime. Got to stay hydrated. Speaking of families, one of the big celebrations for families is a wedding.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to Madison Goodwin, who is a bride-to-be who claims an impulse decision to get breast surgery in Turkey left her looking like her boob, quote, had been bitten by a shark. She went on a knife in Istanbul. It's Istanbul, Constantinople. After seeing a delighted friend's results at the same clinic on impulse, then booked to get it done. The model and social media influencer spent about 4,000 lira to have breast implants and a breast lift, which involved nipple reconstruction in order to make her big, saggy boobs, or satty, either of them, perkier. That was back in April. So she's like, I got some big old saggy boobs at 19, nonetheless. So she wants implants and perk those things up. So got to reconstruct the old nip.
Okay, all right, I'm following along now.
She was concerned when she discovered her right nipple was bright purple the day after the surgery.
A purple nipple.
Purple nipple. The actual purple nipple.
Actual purple nipple.
And claims to have overheard a doctor saying, it was done wrong, but I corrected it. Days later, though, she was horrified when she took off the bandages and spotted some of the skin had turned black and her nipple was, quote, hanging on by a thread.
No.
Before eventually dropping off.
Oh, Lord.
So she went from purple nip to no nip.
Do you throw it in a thing of ice and take it to the dentist? What do you do?
I'm not quite sure.
Wrap it in a wet towel?
How do you weld it back on? Do you take some super glue and just super glue that nip or Flex Seal? With Flex Seal, your nipple will never move.
Man, and you hear these stories of going to exotic land. And not that Istanbul is that. I mean, it's Turkey. It's not like it's not like you're going into Colombia or something to get plastic surgery.
Having been referred to a hospital, a wound specialist, she's now waiting for the rest of the necrotic tissue to heal or drop off before she can get a skin graft at a UK hospital.
God almighty.
So she just wanted to look nice and fill out that dress with some perkier breastises, and she started with a purple nipple, ended up with no nipple.
Oh, and you're trying to look nice on a bargain too. You're trying to go on the cheap. Yeah. So you go to a foreign country and because you're going to get a deal on plastic surgery.
If you were to open up that bandage, let me ask you your reaction. You take the bandage off, you see a black boob and a nipple hanging off. What's your first reaction?
So was it an artificial nipple?
No, it was her own nipple.
Her own nipple.
But they had to reconstruct the nipple.
Oh, I see.
Because they made the boob perkier, the nipple is going to go back.
In the wrong place, yeah.
I mean, it was going to be under her armpit, maybe. I'm not quite sure what they were doing.
Yeah.
So they had
oval shaped, probably.
Exactly. So they had to I think they had to lop the nip and then reposition it, reconstruct it, and so that's why it went awry. I guess it didn't grow roots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure how nipples work, but I think they're like plants. Like
right.
she didn't water her nipples enough, and the roots didn't take hold, so they have to repot the plant somewhere. So she ends up with no nip on her. Now I hope she has told the husband to be about all of this. I hope he's not blind.
Yeah. Go easy on the left one.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to lose the second one.
Might go flying off.
Yeah, sorry, there's no nipple on this one. My apologies.
Not quite as attached as well as the other one.
No.
Science is creating all kinds of things in addition to pretend nipples. They've also got tiny testicles.
Tiny T.
That they're made in a lab.
Oh,
lab-grown balls.
testes.
Yeah.
We're going to hang those from our back of our trucks, too?
Sparking fears that it could make men redundant in the future, that we are going to become obsolete because science has created testicles.
Aren't we already kind of obsolete?
I mean,
in the grand scheme of things.
I guess that's about what we're good for, is making sure that humanity goes on. And then it's like
get rid of these guys. So they got some tiny test tube testes.
Dr. Nitzan Gonen,
Nitzan Gonad, what?
has produced the genitals from cells extracted from mice. But
oh God, those are then really tiny testes. Then little mice balls.
She successfully made mice balls. Said she hopes to be able to produce human versions within 5 years that could actually produce sperm.
Okay, I guess you get a little sample size of that too, and make sure you grow them around it. I'm not quite sure how it all works. For
Dr. Gonad, who heads the Sex Determination Laboratory.
Nitzan.
Yeah. Said her goal is not to make men obsolete, just wants to help the global crisis of male fertility. God, it's always our fault, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Is anybody going to keep those in their purse now? Like, I literally got a pair. She's literally got a pair in her purse. Ha ha.
She said her work will help those men who can't produce sperm and can't father a child, rather than being used as a way to make babies without a man. So fertility problems, you go to the vending machine,
you get yourself
a pair of balls,
your new pair of nuts, swap them out, and then do your business.
So literally, when somebody says, "Hey, why don't you grow a pair?" You can you can grow a pair.
Nitzan Gonad said, "Aha! You can grow a pair."
They used 5-day-old mice to produce a testicle organoid, a microscopic version of an organ.
What do you got going on there? An organoid? Sorry. Just not very well endowed. Just an organoid. Paying no attention to it.
Like, oh, man, I pulled my organoid. They added hormones and some sort of magic growth medium to try to replicate testes in an environment, and were speechless with the results, because you're looking at a petri dish and there's balls there.
There's nothing else but just random balls.
I don't know what to say.
we got a couple of random nuts just sitting in here. Dr. Gonad.
Her vision is to grow testes organoids from the biopsies of children with cancer.
Oh. And you can't do that with your lab nuts.
Oh, my God. Hopefully grow into fertile sperm. Right
there next to the box of grape nuts is a box of lab nuts.
Dude, this is like one day away from being a freaky porn site. That's the first thing. It'll be a scientific advance. Next thing, it'll be a porn site.
Next thing you know, it'll be used and be like, I literally teabagged you. It's in your tea. There's a random nut in my tea.
It comes after warnings that the entire human race could be in danger if the quality of men's semen is not improved. Come on, men.
Come on, do your duty.
Banana or peanut butter or whatever it is that...
Pineapple, right? Yeah, is that supposed to make it taste better or whatever?
Well, I don't think this isn't for tasting. This is for procreating, Mike.
I'm sorry. I hear mice balls and I think rice balls.
Not only is the sperm count dropping, but the total of sperm per ejaculate is lower. God,
who's got to go through and do that research? Excuse me, sir. Your numbers are a little low.
Isn't it weird that ejaculate is the correct scientific term and sounds so pornographic?
It sounds worse than saying the other thing.
I think so.
If you were and
Why don't you just say money shot?
yeah,
Can you just say that?
I'm getting ready to ejaculate. Here I come. And 3, 2, ejaculate.
Yeah, it's the right. Yeah, it's the right thing to say, but also sounds ridiculous.
Exactly. Sounds absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, the Olympics are starting as of the release of this podcast. There'll be an opening ceremony. And one of a celebrity is an important part of a certain Team USA competitive team.
Two classic rappers are making the Olympics possible.
Yes, that's correct.
Snoop Doggy Dogg
Running the torch.
is bringing the torch in,
Yes.
which is I can't picture him running. Can you picture him run? Is he going to run? Is he going to run?
He's going to have to jog. He's going to have to at least jog. I see him having, he's a taller guy. He's got a nice loping gait to him.
True. He's always wearing those trainers, too. He's always...
Yeah, I don't
dressed
think
like
he's
that.
going to run super fast or a long distance, but he'll jog a little bit in his very Snoop Dogg sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I am so looking forward to that.
Yes, that's
I
going
am
to be
so looking
fantastic.
forward to people being pissed about it, too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The ruination of our...
Oh, my
What
God.
is he do? Shut up. just shut up. Who's the other rapper, though,
The
helping
other
out?
rapper is somebody who's suddenly popped back up into our awareness is Flava Flav.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
He saved Red Lobster, right? Or
Yeah,
at least...
he's now a spokesperson for Red Lobster, and literally just the spokesperson. I don't know if you've seen the TV commercials. He never shows up. You just hear his voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You have to have
You got
that-
Flavor
the
Flav,
flavor. Yeah. You have a big old lobster chain going on?
Well,
How is he helping our Olympic team?
he is making sure it will be because of Flava Flav. I keep saying flavor.
It's an A, Johnny, not an O-R. I thought my anemone was a bad
know,
one, but
I
yeah.
know.
Flava Flav.
Keep trying to pronounce his name right, like an idiot.
We're here with Flavor Flav.
So the earlier this week, the captain of the women's water polo team,
Okay.
the U.S. women's water polo team, made a plea on social media and said, we've qualified for the Olympics. We want to go there, but we need support, and we just don't
Oh,
have
wow.
it. It's,
Not enough fundage.
And Flava catches wind of this. And she said, water polo, women's water polo specifically, may not be the most popular sport on everyone's radar, but with women's sports even more on the rise, I encourage everyone to give these women a try. And sure enough,
It reaches Flava Flav.
Flava Flav is scrolling, and he says, hang on. And so he steps forward and offers to help the U.S. team go for their unprecedented fourth consecutive gold medal when they are at the Paris Olympics. He says, as a girl dad supporter of all women's sports, I'ma personally sponsor you, my girl. Whatever you need, he commented on her post. And I'ma sponsor the whole team. That is and this is how he wrote it, by the way. That is a Flavor Flav promise.
Oh.
F-A-L-V-F Flavor.
Flavor. Okay.
Flavor Flav.
Flavor.
So he wrote his formal name there.
Yes, because it's Paris. Normally in America, it's Flavor.
you know,
in Paris, it's Flavor.
Yeah, you go by Mike, but when you sign an official document,
Yeah.
it's Michael, right?
Yes, exactly.
So he's Flavor, and it's a promise he's planning to keep. He's finalizing a deal that will make him a U.S. water polo sponsor and the official hype man for the program, seeking a bigger spotlight. He also jumped headfirst into his new duties, highlighting some of the team's best players on social media, making plans to watch the women's team play in Paris.
No, you need to fly him over there.
Well,
when the team comes
he's
on,
flying them all. It's like
well, no, he needs to be there. If he's the official
Yeah.
hype man, before the team comes out
I hear you.
into the pool area, there needs to be Flavor Flav just saying, "Yeah, boy," and he comes out. What time is it?
Yeah.
And then here they come out. That's what needs to happen.
I hope they use his big clock as the official timer.
They have to. They
Instead
have
of the little
to.
digital one in the corner, it's just him holding.
He just holds it the whole time as it goes around.
When I come out and watch this water polo team, USA, yo, I'm going to be the biggest hype man that they ever had in their life. I'm going to be bigger than any cheerleader they ever had in their life. I'm going to cheer this team on, and I'm going to cheer this team into winning the gold medal.
Yes, you do that, Flava Flav.
Flav, who's 65, was inducted into the was inducted with Public Enemy into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 2013.
Flava Flav is 65?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
He says, one thing about me, I know what it feels like to achieve a goal, and I'm the type of person that if I see you trying, I'm going to do whatever I can do to help. God bless Flava Flav.
We salute you, my friend.
Now that's a real American hero. I
He
like
is.
this. That's real. That's a great story.
It is.
That is a Cool Runnings level of story.
It is. It's very much so. So thank you, Flava Flav. Without you, we wouldn't have Cheddar Bay biscuits still hanging around, and we wouldn't be able to see the lady with their biscuits.
And who was that necessary?
No, it wasn't.
Was that necessary?
But I wanted to make.
Are you sending emails to the district attorney out in San Francisco?
What kind of your panties?
Panties.
It was one of the things maybe that's why I didn't get the job. It was one of the things I said I'm very good at.
Come on.
Yeah, no. Kudos to Flava Flav.
I'm going to now watch the U.S. I probably wouldn't have even thought about the U.S. women's water polo team.
It's
but
a
knowing
freaking
that
hard sport.
Oh, my God.
Good Lord. I don't know how to swim, but it's like they're treading water constantly.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, still trying to swim up and down, catch a ball, throw the ball in the net, and really high rates of speed.
I mean, you gotta think you're absolutely right.
Skipping it off the water, it's like, Jesus.
If you've ever been in a pool and you've just like thrown a Nerf football around and you jump and you catch it and you do, that's exhausting. But you're standing on the on the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, you're standing.
They are not. They're 9 feet from the bottom and they are treading like maniacs.
It is ridiculous, all that the endurance and how much skill and effort goes into it. They're probably some of the most well-conditioned athletes that you'll see throughout the entire Olympics.
Flav is working on another tour with Public Enemy that could begin later this year, then held up a T-shirt with his picture that read, King Swifty, I'm proud to support Taylor as well. Like she needs his help.
Boy, she was really having a rough go of it, but then Flava Flav swung her support.
Flava says, Flava Flav is a Swiftie, the king of all Swifties. So if Taylor ever falls on her face, she's got flavor to to back her up.
And this podcast also does have flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm behind you too, Flava.
Yeah, I am as
well. Tell me where to write the check.
Yes, because when it comes to Flava Flav and what he supports,
she'll like it too.